but it's a class action lawsuit against all machines and that they're defective devices.
Good news is, for me, I'm here. The bad news for you is, I'm coming back.
I liked beer. I still like beer. But I did not drink beer to the point of blacking out.
Sam, if I could just get this sentence out. We can talk about Jimmy Dore can go and kill 15 kids tomorrow, and I still believe in force the vote.
I am not up to the job. And I mean that sincerely. It's not like, whoa.
I mean, the fossil fuel industry, they weigh in so significantly. I mean, how could it be?
And then they have cans of soup. And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, no, this is soup from my family. They're so innocent. This is soup from my family. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, no, this is just soup for my family. And then the media says, this is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people.
I am not up to the job. And I mean that sincerely. It's not like, whoa.
In contrast, Russian elections are rigged. Political opponents are imprisoned or otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process. The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine.
I've got to go. Let me respond. There's a lot to respond to here. Let's get something straight. You shouldn't be disappointed. What I've done so far is more than anybody else has done this far. Okay? Number one. Number two, I mean what I say when I say it. I mean what I say when I say it. I'm the only person who's ever run on 3 platforms that I was told could not possibly win the election. and I never ceased from it. One was on restoring the soul of this country because of what I saw happen in Charlottesville. That was it. No one else was talking about it. The words of presidents matter. Nobody else.
They're coming all over the place. They're coming all over. They're coming all over. They're coming all over. Coming all over the place. Coming all over the place. They're coming all over the place. They're coming all over the place. They're coming all over the place. And we will. They're coming all over the place. 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 And we will. They're coming all over the place. 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 It's on live television. They're coming all over the place. It's on live television. They're coming all over the place. 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 This is on live. They're coming all over the television. They're coming all over the place. 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 They're coming all over the place.
Retweet. That was an opinion of somebody, and that was a retweet.
It's like, oh, Abel's your guy, eh, God? How about if I take him out in the field and beat him to death? How do you feel about that?
Early in the morning, they went to the table with the black robe, the black shield, and they pulled out the vote.
Dub is a shit fuck, you know, cringe to dub is a shit fuck, you know, cringe to her, etc., etc.
I eat extra sharp. That's what I eat.
No, seriously, hot sauce. I've been eating a lot of hot sauce, a lot of raw peppers and hot sauce.
Yes.
I am not up to the job. And I mean that sincerely. It's not like, whoa.
But it's a class action lawsuit against all machines and that they're defective devices, okay?
$7 million for reef fish management. $25 million to combat Asian carp. $2.5 million to count the number of amberjack fish in the Gulf of Mexico.
Is anyone there? Hello, users? Testing, testing. Where the users at? Where are the users? Testing. Where are the users? Hello? 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 We got a show here today. Got a program doing a show today. Today is the show day. Today is the day for the show. I have not had my coffee yet, so please bear with me. As you can see, this is a full... whoa, what is... Okay, excellent, excellent. All right. It's coursing through my veins. It's coursing through my veins. Okay. So today's a show. I got a show lined up for today. And looks like we have a sex bot in the chat. God damn. All right. All right. So we got a show here going on today. It's not on. All right, I guess it's not on. So we got a show here today, and so we're doing a show today. So I got a lot of shit that I want to talk about today. A lot of it's just really stupid. A lot of really stupid fucking shit. I want to talk more about the Texas school shooting today. It's true. They upped my fucking chat percentage interaction. I get more money with these bots. Alright, so there's a show for today. I think. Hold on. Let me call the board. Let me confirm this. Hello? So yeah, I'm just making sure. Do I have a show today? Is that true? Is that true? No? I don't. Maybe. Okay. All right. I'll just do the show. Okay. So, I got some bad news, but gonna do the show first. Gonna have to do the show, and then we got to deal with the bad news. And that bad news is that I'm not gonna have health insurance in a week from now. That's the bad news. So if you want to help me survive, if you want to help me live, that's right. I'm going to try to make money off of the fact that the United States is stripping me from my health care. Feel free to give me money. I'm turning 26 on Tuesday, so. That's great. I'm excited for that. Let's do a show. And what have you did? What have you did you do? And what have you did you do? And what have you did you do? What the fuck? Realign, are you on drugs? Are you on drugs? And what have you did you do? Interesting. All right, so I want to read this article. I'm going to start today's show by reading this article from the AP that has some information about the police actions in regards to the Texas school shooting at an elementary school in Uvalde. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. So let's read. And then later on in the show, I'm going to play some video that exists Frustrated onlookers urged police officers to charge into the Texas elementary school, where a gunman's rampage killed 19 children and 2 teachers. I read a story that the teachers, like, literally used themselves as human shields to protect the children. Imagine a world where there's cops. The cops watch him go into the school. The cops are there the whole time. It's not like they're 5 minutes down the street. They watched him enter the school. And teachers literally jumped in front of bullets to protect children so that they could run away. Can you imagine how fucked up that is? Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was reading a lot of these details and I was crying yesterday. That shit is fucking insane. That is insane. The budget for the city that this elementary school is in spends $4 million every year on the police force. That's 40% of their total budget. They spend $4 million on cops, giving them overtime, making sure they got all the cool battering rams and the drones and the helicopters and the ropes and the fucking, and they got the guns. And it was teachers that jumped in front of bullets to stop the kids from being killed. Is that, like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And that's not even, like, that's the beginning of how fucked up this story is. Okay, so witnesses said Wednesday, as investigators worked to track the massacre that lasted upwards of 40 minutes and ended when the 18-year-old shooter was killed by a Border Patrol team. Border Patrol? The local cops did nothing. The school district itself has its own police force. They did nothing. They waited until Border Patrol got there, and then one of them was like, what the fuck? I guess I have to do something. Go in there, go in there, a nearby woman shouted at the officers soon after the attack began. Said Juan Carranza, 24, who saw the scene from outside his house, across the street from Robb Elementary School in the close-knit town of Uvalde. Carranza said the officers did not go in. The officers were there, watched him enter the school, and did nothing for 40 minutes at all. I said this on Twitter earlier, but this, like, police are the best when it comes to making anti-cop propaganda. This story, no one on planet Earth who dislikes police could possibly come up with a way to convince people that police are bad more than this story. This story is like the most effective piece of anti-cop propaganda that is, in my opinion, that we've ever seen in this country. Like, it's up there, at the very least. How can people see this story and come to the conclusion that cops are the good guys? Where are the bad apples? The whole SWAT team? They have a SWAT team. They stood around outside the school and did nothing. What are the bad apples? The local police, the school district police, the SWAT teams, they did nothing. They waited for the Border Patrol to come in? What? They did nothing at all while 19 kids got fucking shot and killed. Fucking 3rd and 4th graders were fucking shot and murdered while these cops did nothing. That's insane. That is like the most insane thing in the world. They watched the shooter go in, heard the gunshots, and it gets worse. It gets worse. All right. Javier Cazares, whose 4th grade daughter, Jacqueline Cazares, was killed in the attack, said he raced to the school when he heard about the shooting. Arrived while police were still gathering outside the building. Still gathered, that is to say. As in, they gathered and then sat there and did nothing. Upset that the police were not moving in, he raised the idea of charging into the school with several other bystanders. Let's just rush in because the cops aren't doing anything like they are supposed to. He said more could have been done. They were unprepared, he added. $4 million every year. They were not unprepared. They were not unprepared. They were as prepared as they could ever possibly have ever been. They are the most prepared that they've ever been in the history of this city. $4 million every year, excess military equipment contracts. They had SWAT teams, they had helicopters, they had massive amounts of guns. They were not unprepared. They were extremely prepared. They just didn't feel like doing their fucking job. They just didn't care. Minutes earlier, Carranza had watched as Salvador Ramos crashed his truck into a ditch outside the school, grabbed his AR-15 style semi-automatic rifle, and shot at 2 people outside a nearby funeral home who ran away uninjured. Officials say he encountered a school district security officer outside the school, though there were conflicting reports from authorities on whether the men exchanged gunfire. After running inside, he fired on 2 arriving Uvalde police officers who are outside the building, said Texas Department of Public Safety spokesperson Travis Considine. The police officers were injured. I want to be very clear. The cops saw him go in and did nothing. Like, I don't care if they're injured. In my opinion, good. Maybe they'll quit and they'll get a job that they can actually handle. After entering the school, Ramos charged into one classroom and began to kill. He barricaded himself by locking the door and just started shooting children and teachers that were inside the classroom. Lieutenant Christopher Olivares of the Department of Public Safety told CNN, "It just shows you the complete evil of the shooter." What about the complete evil of your cops that did nothing, that saw and watched it happen and then said, "Oh, that's cool. Let's stay outside." This is entertainment. This is why we become cops, to be entertained. We're not going to risk our lives to protect children. We're here to watch. That's why we become cops. That way we get a front row seat to the fucking freak show every day. We get a fucking people on the radio telling us where the freaks are. We go there and we watch them kill people. And then maybe we'll do something afterward. I don't know. All those killed were in the same classroom, he said. Department of Public Safety Director Steve McCraw told reporters that 40 minutes to an hour elapsed from when Ramos opened fire on the school security officer to when the tactical team shot him. Though a department spokesperson said later they could not give a solid estimate on how long the gunman was in the school. So wait, the police are saying they have no idea how long he was there? Huh. Interesting. They can't even they don't even have like a story to stick to. Their story is so bad, they can't even say, "Oh, it was only 15 minutes," and then they all stick to the same lie, because that's how bad it was. The bottom line is law enforcement was there, McCraw said. They did engage immediately. They did contain Ramos in the classroom. Now, I want you to really imagine, this is the director of the Department of Public Safety. Like, this is like one of the head honchos for this entire city's police force. They did engage immediately. They contained him in the classroom. Like, he says that as if it's a good thing. Yeah, we did our jobs. We locked him in a classroom with an assault rifle, and just happened to be a full class, and he shot and killed 19 kids. That's insane. Like, why would you fucking brag about that? Why would you brag about that? That's not something you brag about. Yeah, we locked the fucking psycho shooter in the room with the kids. Great job! But it also needs to be said that that's not true. He locked himself in the fucking classroom. He locked himself in there. And then the cops didn't do anything about trying to get in there to stop him. Like, they're taking credit for what the shooter did and saying it as if it's a good thing. It's insane. It's insane. It's insane. I need you to understand how fucking insane this is. When I made my video yesterday, that I spent a lot of the time talking about the police in that video, I got some pushback from people on various media sites. They were saying, why are you making the shooting all about the police? Why is your political ideology so blah, 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 blah? You can't even talk about a tragedy like this without blaming cops. And that was yesterday, before we knew all of this information. Like, all we knew yesterday is that they were around for an hour and did nothing. There's more details that I'm going to read. Right? There's more details that I have other videos of. Like, this is way worse than anyone could have possibly imagined yesterday. And yesterday, I was already pretty fucking fucked up about this. So, imagine my shock to find out that the police didn't just do nothing. They did worse than nothing. And we're going to get into this. Meanwhile, a law enforcement official familiar with the investigation said the Border Patrol agents had trouble breaching the classroom door and had to get a staff member to open the room with a key. The official spoke on the condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to speak publicly about the ongoing investigation. Carranza said the officers should have entered the school sooner. No fucking shit, they should have. They shouldn't have even let this fucking psycho enter the school to begin with. Cops can shoot and murder a 13-year-old black kid just for being next to a car. Right? This happens in Chicago with extreme accuracy, but they can't kill someone that's a school shooter. Like, they can kill 13-year-old black kids just fine. Can we get some of those? Like, I say, you know, if we're going to go with the police state route, let's get all the cops who are really good at killing the black kids, right? Because they're really good at that. Right? And get rid of all these fucking morons, right? But guess what? This is the problem when you have these motherfuckers in school, right? Is there's video after video after video after video of school resource officers, that's what they call them, beating the shit out of black kids. I've seen videos, right, where it's like a white kid will punch a black kid in a video in like a lunchroom, right? And then the black kid will get like up and go like, what the fuck are you doing? And then like a resource officer, so-called, will tackle the black kid for getting punched. Before there's even a fight that happens. Right? Like, that's insane. It's insane. It's insane. Like, these people, like, it's like they're hardwired to always do the opposite of what they should be doing. They're hardwired to whatever the best possible outcome is, they go in the opposite direction. Every time. It doesn't matter the context. It doesn't matter. Cops will always do the worst thing imaginable every single time. It's insane. It is insane. There were more of them. There was just one of him, he said. Uvalde is a largely Latino town of some 16,000 people, about 75 miles from the Mexican border. Robb Elementary, which has nearly 600 students in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grades, is a single-story brick structure in a mostly residential neighborhood of modest homes. Hundreds packed into bleachers at the town's fairgrounds for a vigil Wednesday, and the crowd swelled so big some stood around the speakers Before attacking the school, Ramos shot and wounded his grandmother at the home they shared. Neighbor Gilbert Gallegos, 82, who lives across the street and had known the family for decades, said he was puttering in his yard when he heard the shots. Ramos ran out the front door, across the small yard to the truck parked out in front of the house. He seemed panicked, Gallegos said, and had trouble getting the truck out of park. Then he raced away. He spun out, fast, spraying gravel in the air. His grandmother emerged covered in blood. She says, Berto, this is what he did. He shot me. she was hospitalized. Gallegos, whose wife called 911, said he had heard no arguments before or after the shots and knew of no history of bullying or abuse of Ramos, who he rarely saw. Investigators also shed no light on Ramos's motive for the attack, which also left at least 17 people wounded. Blah, blah, blah. We'll get into fucking Greg Abbott later. We don't see a motive or a catalyst, blah, blah, blah. Ramos legally bought the firearm and a second one like it last week just after his birthday. It needs to be said that there was a law recently in Texas that reduced the age to buy a gun from 21 to 18. Very interesting. Ramos sent the first of 3 online messages warning about his plans, Abbott said, blah, blah, blah. Ramos wrote that he was going to shoot his grandmother and that he had shot the woman in the last note, sent about 15 minutes before reaching Robb Elementary. He said he was going to shoot up an elementary school. According to Abbott, investigators said Ramos did not specify which school. Ramos sent the private one-to-one text messages via Facebook, said company spokesperson Andy Stone. It was not clear who received the messages. There's a lot more I want to get into from this. But the details coming out about the shooting, they're just so bad. They're just so fucking bad. They're just so bad. I'm gonna show a video here. So, these are the parents, some of which literally had their kids get killed, begging the cops to do something about it. The cops are like, we're handling it, we're handling it. And the cops are like pushing parents away from going inside.
He ain't done yet. He done? He's not good. Y'all should have fucking changed that motherfucker like that. No! I'm fucking good to him. Let him go. Come on, guys, para, güey. We're shooting.
Like, I need to explain. Like, cops despise the peasants. They despise the people. They despise citizens so much that during an active elementary school shooting, they are more excited about beating the shit out of parents that are trying to save their kids. Like, they enjoy bullying regular people so much that when there's someone in an elementary school literally killing their children, they are more concerned with tackling parents to the ground. So the video, there's not too much in the video, but you can hear in the audio parents screaming at the cops and cops not responding very kindly, to say at the least. But yeah, I just want to play this whole thing because I think it's important to understand, like, the cops are the enemy of everybody. Like, you need to understand, You are on your own. Every time you send your child to school, there's a good chance your child's not coming home. And there's no one that's going to protect your child. There's no one that even wants to pretend to protect your child. Every time you send your child to school, every time you watch them get on the school bus, that's it. Like, by the grace of God, hope and pray that they get home. Cops aren't going to help them. Teachers were literally being human shields, sacrificing their lives to save some of these kids, while the cops stood around outside and tackled parents for just asking them to do their own job. Like, imagine, right, all of these police, imagine if they all went into school. There's like fucking, I counted at least like 12 in full decked out riot gear, fucking wearing like fucking, like giant fucking bulletproof vests. They've got 13 guns strapped to them. Why didn't they all just enter the school at once? Because again, it's more fun to beat the shit out of a parent who just had their child get shot and killed. That's more fun than going in to stop it. Don't, like, cops love this. I thought they loved this shit. Isn't that why they became cops? Right? Isn't that what they want to do? Don't they want, like, a mass shooting? Don't they want to be that hero cop that stops the mass shooter? Isn't that what every cop, like, prays for every night before they eat their roast beef? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Why didn't one of them go in and be the hero cop? Even if they fucking got injured, even if they got killed, they all would. Again, it's more fun to beat the shit out of unarmed parents than it is to stop an active shooter at an elementary school. It's insane. It's insane. And the gaslighting of telling, we're handling it. Like, imagine being a parent. You see the cops saying that they're handling it. We're handling it. We got this. We're handling it. And then knowing later on that they didn't handle it. And then knowing that your child died and the cops lied to you. They lied to you. They told you they were going to do everything that they could, and they lied. So this is, this is what we're dealing with when it comes to cops in the United States. This is what we're dealing with. It's just insane. I want to read this article. This one is fucking insane. I need you to understand that this is insane. What I'm about to read to you, like, this is fucking insane. I need you to understand just how fucking crazy this is. It is time to die. Fourth grader who survived Uvalde's school shooting gives heartbreaking account of what the gunman told students. Fourth grader. Imagine a fucking fourth grader. Like, this isn't like a 34-year-old like teacher who's giving this account. This is a fourth grader recounting their trauma. A fourth grader who survived the mass shooting at Robb Elementary has shared gut-wrenching details about what he witnessed inside the classroom. He shot the next person's door. We have a door in the middle. He opened it. He came in and he crashed a little bit and he said, it's time to die, the boy recalled. Authorities say the suspect barricaded himself inside a classroom and opened fire on the people inside, killing 19 children and 2 teachers before he was killed by law enforcement. When I heard the shooting through the door, I told my friend to hide under something so he won't find us, he said. I was hiding hard, and I was telling my friend not to talk because he is going to hear us. This is a 4th grader speaking. This is a literal child. The boy and 4 others hid under a table that had a tablecloth over it, which may have shielded them from the shooter's view and saved their lives. The boy shared heartbreaking details about what happened in the room. Again, this is insane. When the cops came, the cops said, yell if you need help. And one of the persons in my class said, help. The guy overheard, and he came in and shot her, the boy said. The cop barged into the classroom, the guy shot at the cop, and the cop started shooting. I want to read this to you again. Police are not well trained at all. Who would possibly ever think about doing this? There's an active shooter, and you're telling people hiding to make themselves known to the shooter? What? When the cops came, the cops said, yell if you need help. And one of the persons in my class said, help. The guy overheard and he came in and shot her, the boy said. The cop barged into the classroom. The guy shot at the cop and the cop started shooting. The cop got that kid killed. What the fuck? They're not trained for this. This is insane. I say this with I am not happy to report this, but the most effective anti-cop propaganda is just their actions. I could dedicate 70 years to doing mass investigations and making the perfect documentary on police corruption, and that would pale in comparison to this story. This is insane. How could anyone read this and possibly respect the institution of police? How is it possible that someone could read this story and think, oh yeah, cops, pretty good? Where are the Blue Lives Matter people on this shit? It's insane. It's insane. He said that once the shooting stopped, he came out from under the table. I just opened the curtain and I put my hand out. He said, I got out with my friend. I knew it was police. I saw the armor and the shield. He said his teachers, Irma Garcia and Eva Morales, saved their lives. They were nice teachers, he said. They went in front of my classmates to help to save them. They literally used themselves as human shields so that the kids could get to a safe place. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? That's fucking insane. That's insane. That's insane? The boy said that it made him feel better hugging his family and telling them about his feelings. He spoke with the counselor and said a highlight was seeing his friend who also survived. I would like to say every kid and parent to be safe, he said. I would like to say to every kid and parent to be safe. I mean, you know, he's a kid. It's just insane. The cops literally got another child killed. That's fucking incredible. I can't. There are no words that exist in the human language, in any human language. I mean, like not just English. There are no words that could ever exist in any human language ever that would possibly be able to describe just how fucking horrible this fucking shit is. Like, I mean, every level, every step of the way, the police made the situation worse at every turn. At every inflection point in this crisis, police made the wrong decision. They will always make the wrong decision. There will never be any time ever where cops save the day. They will always make everything worse until we completely rethink how we make like law enforcement function in this country. The current system is garbage. We need to destroy the current system and start from scratch. The people that become police, they are self-selected to be lunatics. The people that are past the police academy and get hired at these police forces, they are chosen specifically based on their level of incompetence. They don't want free thinkers to be police. A lot of the time, if you score too high on cognitive tests, they won't let you become a cop because they think you won't follow orders. This is criminal negligence. I said this yesterday, but if I am a daycare supervisor, right, and I'm watching a child eat crayons and then they choke and die on the crayons, and I'm just watching it. I'm doing nothing. I didn't give them the crayons, right? I did nothing. I just watched it happen. I would go to jail for criminal negligence. Criminal fucking negligence. Because I failed to do my job. My job was to supervise the kids to make sure that they're safe. I didn't do that. I would go to jail. If you're a cop, do you think any of these cops are going to go to jail? Do you think any of them are going to even lose their job? Do you think any of these cops are going to lose their fucking job? Do you think any of them are going to have any reprimanding at all? At all? Anywhere? Anytime? Anything? No. Nothing. There will be no punishment. They might even get overtime. They might even get a bonus for dealing with the trauma. I guarantee you these cops will get a bonus. Every time police do something wrong, they get a bonus. It's insane. It's fucking crazy. It's insane. I want to there's been some bad takes, and I want to play a couple of bad takes from right-wing politicians just to show you the depravity of what we're dealing with in this society. By the way, yesterday was the 2-year mark since George Floyd was murdered. Just throwing that out there. I'm sure policing, people protested in the streets, so therefore we defunded the cops, right? Because someone said that somewhere. They said defund the police, and therefore that happened, according to right-wing politicians. Right? Because that's how policy is enacted. You do a protest, you say defund the police, and then it's like a wizard casting a spell. Like it immediately happens. So right-wing politicians, I've seen a couple of them say that, oh, if only we didn't defund the... Oh, sure, that that never happened in the city, right? But yeah, then fucking Joe Biden... I'm not even going to cover Joe, I'll maybe do it tomorrow, but his executive order is like, oh, I promised people that we'd reform... Yeah, 99% of police interactions... People are not walking down the street and the FBI is what's putting them in a chokehold. Your executive order that only functions on the FBI doesn't do anything. Like, maybe sometimes the FBI will fuck someone up just randomly on the side of the street, but 99.9% of the time, that's going to be like a local cop. So I got 2 clips here. I know that there's more, but these are 2 that I saw from right-wing politicians just saying really horrible stuff. So I got Ted Cruz here in the direct aftermath. This is what he has to say.
Do you want to talk about how we could have prevented the horror that played out across the street? Look, the killer entered here the same way the killer entered Santa Fe, through a back door, an unlocked back door. I sat down at round tables with the families from Santa Fe. We talked about what we need to do to harden schools, including not having unlocked back doors, including not having unlocked doors to classroom, having one door that goes in and out of the school, having armed police officers at that one door. Do you want to talk about how we could have...
So the most immediate thing that comes to mind here, what about fire? Like, the reason you have multiple entrances and exits is because of fire. What if there's a fire and it blocks the one door? It's insane. This is insane. Like, Ted Cruz, his first thought, this is the guy who says, don't politicize the shooting. Don't politicize the shooting. His first thought is, oh, we need to make schools like prisons and make them extreme fire hazards and have armed guards at every door, except there's only one door. And guess what? Guess what? There were armed guards at this school. And they didn't do anything. There were armed guards. What happens if the armed guards just say, I don't really feel like it today? What happens then, Ted Cruz? But I mean, obviously, these people are depraved. Of course they're going to say the worst possible thing at the worst possible time. And will Ted Cruz face any punishment? Will he lose an election over this? No. There will never be any accountability for any of these people. There will never be ever a moment of any possible reckoning with these fucking motherfuckers. It's insane. It's insane. Here's another video from who will probably be the next senator in Georgia. This is what he has to say.
See, that is the person wielding that weapon. You know, Cain killed Abel. And that's the problem that we have. And I said, what we need to do is look into how we can stop those things. You know, he talked about doing a disinformation. What about getting a department that can look at young men that's looking at women, that's looking at just social media? What about doing that, looking into things like that? And
so, okay, first of all, you might notice that this is not English. This is not a sentence in the English language, right? You might notice that what the fuck is this guy saying? A department, Aaron Rupert writes this out for us in the tweet. A department that can look at young men that are looking at women that are looking at social media. Again, this guy just won the primary in Georgia. This guy will probably win the general election for the Georgia Senate. Probably. I mean, it's possible that he doesn't. But let's be honest. Right? What the fuck? I'm going to start this over and then we'll play the whole thing.
See, that is the person wielding that weapon. You know, Cain killed Abel. And that's the problem that we have. And I said, what we need to do is look into how we can stop those things. You know, he talked about doing a disinformation. What about getting a department that can look at young men that's looking at women that's looking at just social media? What about doing that, looking into things like that, and we can stop that way? But yet they want to just continue to talk about taking away your constitutional rights. And I think there's more things we need to look into. This has been happening for years, and the way we stop it, by putting money into the mental health field, by putting money into other departments rather than departments that want to take away your rights.
Okay, so there's multiple things here. First of all, is he saying that we need to get like an agency to monitor everyone's social media posts? First of all, that already exists, right? But second of all, like, everything a child says online needs to be monitored by the government? Is that what he's advocating for? So, in the same 40-second span, he is saying, the government's gonna take your rights! They're gonna take your rights! And then he's saying the government should spy on every message that you send to everyone on social media?
Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
And then there's the second part of this.
Your constitutional rights, and I think there's more things we need to look into. This has been happening for years, and the way we stop it by putting money into the mental health field.
So first of all, Governor Greg Abbott defunded mental health healthcare in the state of Texas over the last year. He defunded mental health care, so great job on the Republicans. Republicans don't support mental health care, but let's talk about this line here, mental health. Yeah, we need to help each other with mental health. I agree. So you support Medicare for all, right? Right? You want people to have access to mental health care, and the only way to really do that is to make it free. So you support Medicare for all. Even if these motherfuckers were like, Medicare for all, but only for mental health. All right, let's go! Free therapists for everyone in the country. Let's go! I'm ready. But I really need you to think about this, right? Even countries that have, quote unquote, universal healthcare, like European countries, Canada, for example, even those countries don't do that well when it comes to mental health healthcare. A lot of these universal healthcare systems that are way better than our system are still struggling and lagging when it comes to taking mental health seriously, right? A lot of these healthcare institutions in Europe, in Canada, and so forth, right, they function on, like, you know, the idea that physical health is the main thing and mental health is just like a side. It's like, you know, it's way less important. And so mental health care in a lot of those countries is not funded as well as physical health care, right? So in order to properly tackle this scenario, right, in order to properly give people mental health care that would be able to prevent these kinds of things, we would need to have a universal healthcare system that is more universal, more well-funded than any healthcare system in any country that already exists. We would need to go above and beyond every other country when it comes to healthcare. But we're not going to do that. Right? We're not going to do that. It's just not going to happen. And Herschel Walker, certainly, Marjorie Taylor Greene, also using this line, they certainly don't give a fuck. They're not going to introduce anything to help people with mental health issues. They don't give a fuck at all. They don't care at all. Not even 1%. That's insane. It's insane. I know people that live in Canada that have told me that therapists, like good therapists, still cost hundreds of dollars. Like, you can go and get chemotherapy if you have cancer and you'll be okay. But let's say your kid died in a school shooting and you want to kill yourself, you're depressed. Well, hundreds of dollars you're going to have to fucking spend. And it's like that in a lot of European countries as well. It's like that in a lot of countries like Australia and New Zealand, I'm sure, where almost everyone just views mental health as a secondary, as lower on the list of priorities, when it is equally as important as physical health. I mean, we know, for example, stress, something everyone experiences, stress, can lead to a heart attack. So the best way to do healthcare is preventative healthcare. That's the best way to do it, is preventative healthcare. And what better way to prevent a heart attack than by reducing stress in our daily lives? I don't know, man. And it also deflects from the gun issue. Mental health is an issue that we need to talk about. But, like, there's a time and place to talk about mental health. And that time and place is in between mass shootings. And every single time and every single place, they vote against bills that would expand access to mental health. Every single time. So, and now this fucking stupid fucking idiot, this dumb fuckface prick fuck motherfuck, is saying we need to have mandatory government surveillance on all children's social media posts. And he's saying that as if it's defending your rights? Don't we have a right to protection from unreasonable search and seizure? I would say scanning every child's social media post, I would say that is unreasonable search and seizure. But hey, that's just me. These fucking people are insane. I ended up in a psychiatric hospital in 2001 when I was 17 in Germany after a suicide attempt, and I was very well looked after, and it was free. That's good to hear, but I've heard many other stories. Like a lot of those things depend on like what nurse you get, what doctor you get. You know what I mean? Like in the US, if you have a suicide attempt and like authorities are called, they will like use belts and strap you to a fucking something somewhere and give you a bunch of drugs that you don't need. Right? Like if you're trans, for example, and you like, I don't know, try to kill yourself somewhere and authorities are called, they will detransition you. They will take you off of your hormone medication. They will pump you up with like benzos. If you're like, even if you tell them that you're like an addict or you have addiction issues, they will pump you up with drugs that you don't need. And they will just like leave you and lock you in a room for 3 days and not like care about you at all. But that's in the US. But I've heard similar experiences in a lot of other countries. Germany is terrible at mental health. When I did a Fulbright research grant, the dude who explained the health benefits said he was sure we were too successful to need mental health care. Jesus. Sal says, from New Zealand, says that it's always underfunded. Yeah, but even if like the institutions are well funded, it still goes down to individual doctors and individual nurses. Right? Like, it's insane. Everybody, like the stream. Thumbs up, bro. Thumbs up, bro. Like the stream, folks. I'd like to remind everyone, it is my birthday next week, and the U.S. government is giving me a great present this year. I'm turning 26 years old, so the U.S. government is like, oh, great. That's awesome. Happy for you. We're going to take away your health insurance. So if you want to help me out, or just give me money so that I can buy, like, I don't know, like comic books or fucking video games or drugs. Whatever. I'd appreciate it. If you have anything you want to send me, I would appreciate it. You don't have to. It's optional. PayPal, Cash App, Patreon. I'll do I got to do that YouTube membership bullfuck. I got to do that goddamn YouTube membership fucking ass bowl that people keep recommending. But yeah. Hit me up. Goddamn bullfuck. You know what I hate? Bullfuck. Daughter drama? This is why I don't have any daughters. I'm in the process of looking for alternatives, Paladin, but I'm not set up yet, you know? I'm in the process, and we'll see how it goes. All right. So, yesterday, there was a press conference with the governor of Texas, and the opposing governor candidate, Beto O'Rourke, whom I have a lot of negative things to say about Beto O'Rourke. But this is the energy the Democrats need. This is the energy that everyone needs. There is no more respectability politics. These people are trying to kill you. They're trying to kill your kids. They're trying to kill your family. And the least you can do is yell at them. All right? So, Beto O'Rourke, in a very calm manner, I must say, interrupts Greg Abbott's press conference. And let's watch this.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Sit down.
You're out of line and an embarrassment.
Hey, sit down and don't play this stuff.
So, again, right? Like, again, Republicans don't like dealing with the public. They want you to just sit there and watch them. They don't want you to ask questions. They certainly don't want you to be out of line. But this is the energy the Democrats need to do. No, fuck that respectability bullshit. If your Republican colleague is talking in the Senate, yell at them in the Senate. Talk over them in the Senate. Boo them in the... Oh, but we need to do the minutes and the time of the... Fuck respectability. Fuck civility. These people are killing your kids. They are directly responsible for killing these children in Texas. They made it so that an 18-year-old can buy a gun instantly. They reduced that age from 21 to 18. That was recent. They defunded mental health care. That is to say, mental health care had more funding, and then they removed the funding. It's not like they chose not to fund it in an extra way. They literally defunded it. These motherfuckers are insane. They are insane.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Sit down.
You're out of line and an embarrassment.
Hey, sit down and don't play this stuff.
Is right now, and you're doing nothing. No, he needs to get his ass.
So, Beto O'Rourke is not even yelling at them. He's just saying, you are doing nothing. The next mass shooting is going to happen, and you're doing nothing. This was not unpredictable. It was extremely predictable, and you did nothing. It's hard to hear because of the way the microphones are.
This isn't the place to talk this over. This is totally predictable when you... Sir, you're out
Beto O'Rourke is saying it is totally predictable.
of line. Sir, you are out of line. Sir, you are out of line.
So, the irony, Beto O'Rourke is just talking. He's literally just talking. He's not yelling, he's talking. And then the other guy, Sir, you're out of line! Ah, sir, you're acting like a crazy person right now! Sir! Like, the irony of this shit is insane. Oh, hello, Max. I've alarmed the dog. Hello, Maxie. Hello. I'm sorry. Let's keep playing.
Please leave this auditorium. I can't believe you're a sick son of a bitch that would come to a deal like this to make a political issue.
Okay, I can't believe you're a sick son of a bitch who would come here to make a political issue. My brother in Christ, you are all politicians and you're doing a political press conference. What? This is a press conference with politicians. What do you mean make it a political issue? What? What do you think you're doing here, dude? Are you like, do you have some delirium? Are you like coming off of some drug and you forget where you are? What? I don't know if you can hear my dog making sounds, but I am petting the shit out of this dog right now.
like you. Why don't you get out of here?
So Beto O'Rourke is saying it's on you, and then this fucking freak is like, it's on you, go get out of here! I'm sorry, Max is like, why are you screaming at the computer? My dog, why are you screaming at the TV? What are they doing? He doesn't know. He doesn't know why I'm screaming like a lunatic. But anyway. Okay, so it's on Beto. It's Beto O'Rourke's fault that this mass shooting happened. You know, Beto O'Rourke, civilian. You know, Beto O'Rourke, who's been out of politics for how many years? Out of office, I mean. Yeah, it's his fault. What? Like, what? Like, and then why is this guy swearing? Aren't the Republicans the party about not saying bad words? Like, isn't that, like, remind me here. Like, if you, like, why are the Republicans saying asshole? So it's really hard to hear what Beto O'Rourke is saying, but he is basically, he's basically saying that this was not an unpredictable shooting. It was predictable, and it's so predictable that it's going to happen again because they're doing nothing. That's essentially the message. And then look at Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is like, oh, I'm so disappointed. Oh, look at Ted Cruz. Oh, goddamn. It's just so sad. It's just so sad. It's so sad. So people in the crowd are chanting, let him speak. So again, Beto O'Rourke, I have a lot of criticisms of Beto O'Rourke. I think Beto O'Rourke, overall, kind of a douchebag. But you know what I'm going to say? This is the coolest thing I've seen a politician do in a long time. In a long time. This is cool. And again, he didn't even yell. He didn't need to scream. Right? And everyone's like, you are 6-hole, bitch! You're 6-hole, bitch! Goddamn! Huh, Max is freaking out again. I'm sorry, Max. I'm sorry. Come on up, Max. Let's get Max on screen. Come on up. Come on up. Come on up. He's just staring at me. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Alright, he's got his own ideas. Like, cops can escort Beto O'Rourke out of a building, but they can't stop an active shooter for an hour? Like, I just want to be like, this is insane. Like, where, like, is Nancy Pelosi doing this shit? Is Chuck Schumer doing this shit? Is Joe Biden doing this shit? Joe Biden is out there like, for God's sake, won't someone do something? God damn it, motherfucker, you're the president. So I gotta say, as far as Democrats go, Beto O'Rourke, very, very much so, is climbing to the top of that ranking. Even if a lot of his politics fucking suck, even if a lot of his policy proposals fucking suck, he at least is willing to do something to speak truth to power. And I respect that. So, there you go. Uh-oh. What the fuck? What was that noise? Was that noise audible? What is that? It's strange. It's strange. A Beto male. I agree. He's absolutely a Beto male. Does anyone know what's going on with the Cisneros Cuellar race? Let me look this up. Has that been called yet? It seems Cisneros is less than 200 votes away, with 95% reporting. Hashtag too close to call. That's some crazy shit today. All right, y'all. I'm going to try to cleanse the palate. Gonna do a movie review. What was this fucking movie called? Here we go. Watched a movie the other day. You know how it is. Alright, y'all. Let's cleanse the palate. Let's talk about a movie. So the other day I watched a film. Inheritance. This is a film that I watched. So... Okay. This is one of those movies that's like, it's so okay... that it's honestly, this is hard to even review because it's just so okay. Like, it's not great, but it's not horrible. Right? Like, it's just like, it's a movie to turn on and you watch it and it's like, okay, and then it's over. And you're like, all right. That, you know, it's good. It's not bad. It's not a bad movie. But it's just very okay. So let me describe the plot without spoiling it. So, essentially, there's a rich political family. And, there's like one of the family members, the main character, is a district attorney. One of them is a congressman. And the other one's like a wealthy banker of something, like, And, so, Putty from Seinfeld, he, after breaking up with Elaine, had a really rough and tumble, and eventually, created an empire of politicians and bankers, and then he dies at the start, and, basically he leaves his family an inheritance, right? He gives his son, like, $20 million. He gives his daughter $1 million. That's a little, oof. What a fucked up motherfucker, huh? Anyway. But then also, Putty gives his daughter a secret tape. And tells his daughter, like, I wish I could have told you this when I was alive. I wish I would have told you this when I was alive. And tells her that there's like a secret basement somewhere, like in the middle of the woods, like outside the summer home. There's like a secret basement. And like, he doesn't give her any details. It's just like, this is a secret that I'm passing to you. without any details, right? So she goes to check out this basement. Turns out he's been keeping a prisoner there. That's the movie. Now, this is not the spoiler, because this all happens in like the first 15 minutes. So then the movie is like the daughter trying to figure out why this person has been in prison in like some random bunker basement in the middle of the woods outside the summer home. The guy claims he's been there for 30 years. Right? And then, you know, there's like, this movie, it feels like they had a good concept. Like, there's a good concept to this movie. But then, like, everything else is just so mediocre, it kind of hurts. Right? Like, I found myself watching this movie. The only thing I cared about were the interactions between the main character, the daughter of David Puddy, and the guy in the prison. And everything else, like all the in-between, like the story, like she's apparently working on some big case or whatever in her job. It's all irrelevant. Like all the stuff that, like, oh, she has a fight with her brother in one point. It's all irrelevant. Like, it's just the backstory is just, it feels like filler, right? Like, it feels like it's a movie where the concept, really good concept, but then all the backstory is filler, all the interactions with every other character is filler. It's just a waste of my time. Right, but anyway, but the good parts in this movie are really good, like the interrogation with the prisoner, trying to find out who this person is, why they're in there. And of course, again, like, I'm left wondering, why didn't David Puddy wrote a video message, like he recorded a video message that was in the event of his death to be given to his daughter, and only his daughter is allowed to have access to this. So you're making the video message. Why not tell her the scoop, right? Why not say, okay, I've got a person in the basement, and here's why. Right? Because now I'm getting into the spoiler territory. If this sounds interesting, just mute the stream until the picture goes away. So eventually, she talks to the prisoner. The prisoner's like convincing her that, like, you know, it was just like, you know, David Puddy's like weird fetish to like have someone to torture or something. And she lets him go. Then they find out, because his mother apparently knew who this person was, apparently. Or her mother, I should say, the main character's mother. The wife of David Puddy. Who died at the beginning of the movie. RIP. And so, she knows who this person is. Why didn't she tell the daughter at any point? That's the thing. The backstory for this movie really kind of kills it for me. Right? Like, the twist ending is that the prisoner lied to the daughter the whole time and was actually like a rapist who like raped her mother. And you know, he's actually her father. Whoa! And David Puddy kept him down there because he wanted him to suffer for his crimes for raping his wife or whatever. Why wouldn't you tell the daughter that? Right? Like, Why would you withhold that information? The daughter had no idea who this person was and just thought, oh, my dad's crazy until the end of the movie. And then realized, well, I guess my dad still is crazy, but not that crazy. Right? That just seems like, you might want to mention why the motherfucker's in the basement. I don't know, man. It kind of tears the whole movie apart. I'm not going to lie. But, like, again, it feels like this movie is, like, a really good concept. Right? It's a really good concept, but then every other part, like outside of that part where she goes into the bunker basement and like talks to the prisoner, every other part just like makes those parts worse. You know what I mean? Like, it's like if you were to cut this movie in half or in 2/3 or 1/3 or whatever it would need to be, it might be better. Like if this was a short film, right? And without all that filler garbage, it might be better. But, like, the backstory really just doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's bizarre. It makes no fucking sense. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, but the concept is good, and that's what I mean. Like, this is an okay movie. It's an okay movie, right? Because the good parts are really good. And, like, again, the psychological torture game, like, the mind games between the prisoner and the daughter, that, again, I want to say it's really, really, really good. It's really, really good. It's just that all the other parts of the movie make no sense, right? Like, it's really strange. It's a really fucking strange film. Because it's like, it's so good in some parts, but then other parts are so bad, and it blends together to make this very okay movie. I mean, like, again, you know, I like watching okay movies. I think decent movies, you know, have a place in the world. And that's fine. But, like, this is just really, it's fascinating. Like, again, they take a really good concept, and that the concept is executed really well. Like, it would have made more sense if there was no video message. Like, David Puddy just died randomly, and then, like, she found the basement somehow. Like, looking through his desk and, like, finding, like, a note or something that led her to the basement and then found the prisoner. That would have been better. It makes no sense for David Puddy to film a message saying, in the event that I die, I want to tell you a secret, and then not tell her why this person's in the chains, and it makes no sense, right? So, like, if you were to change a couple parts of this movie, and maybe cut out, like, 20 minutes of filler, it would be really good. It would be really good. Like, if she found, like a note in his room, like, in David Puddy's room, like, in a drawer, right? They're looking through, you know, her father's stuff. She finds something. You know, she keeps it a secret. She goes to look, and oh, my dad's had a prisoner down there, and that's why there's no way to know who it is. And that, like, that I think that single-handedly would have made the movie significantly better. But then also, like, the filler is just, like, because, like, the daughter is, like, going through her life as, like, the district attorney, and she has her own family. She has a kid, right? And so there's a lot of scenes where she's in the courtroom, and it's like, there's no story there. There's really no story there. It's just kind of like, it's, I don't know. But again, the good parts in this movie are really good. And I just want to say that, like, I'm impressed that the good parts of this movie are so good. But the bad parts of this movie just, they're strange. They're just bizarre. Like, they make little to no sense in the grand story. And the twist ending is good. But it just, like, again, the setup, I'm so pissed at the setup being, like, so bad. It really is, I struggle. But anyway, worth watching? Oh, I can't answer that question. You know, if you got a job and you can only watch like 2 movies a week, is this worth watching? Probably not. If you like watching movies and you don't really care about quality and you're into watching this just for the good parts and you're fine with the time commitment, maybe, yeah, I'd recommend it. You know, how am I going to recommend a movie to you? You have different... That's why I don't do ratings on this. I don't do any ratings unless it's like Inception. Then I'm going to say it's a perfect movie. It's 11 out of 10. But like there's a few exceptions. But I usually don't do ratings because everyone's got their different way of determining what movie is worth watching. So I like to describe the movie, what I like about it, what I didn't like about it. And if you like have a lot of time to watch movies and you really like watching movies, okay, then maybe check this out. If you only have time to watch a couple movies a week or not even that or whatever, then this is at the bottom of your list. You know, you all have your own priority lists and stuff. So I don't really do ratings. But I will say this movie's good is good and this movie's bad is bad. And I feel like if you were to cut 20 to 30 minutes out of this movie and change the setup, it would actually be a really good movie, I think. I think that the good parts here are really good, and I think that there was something to them. It's just that the rest of the movie was like it's like, you know, you have like a certain kind of budget or a certain kind of like writing team, and you spend all your resources on one part, and then like the rest of the movie, like they all wrote like when they had like sleep deprivation like caused delirium. Like, they spent, like, 4 days straight. The first 3 days, they were writing the good parts. And then they're just really tired. And they're like, how are we going to... And then that's where the shit comes in. I don't know, man. But it's strange. But anyway, it's a movie. It exists. Check it out. Or don't. It's up to you. Puppy dog, pals. Holy moly. Anyway, y'all, that is going to be my show for today. Yep, today's show, you know, the news, not so good. I don't want to be a bummer to people. I got like there's a cable underneath the wheel of my chair. Okay. I don't mean to be like, you know, but the world, it's not my fault. It's the fucking world. Go watch my cooking show if you haven't seen it. Hold up. Check this out.
Hello, users, and welcome
Check this
to
out.
another episodic installation.
You could see this. You could see this right now because it's a video that exists. That went out yesterday, and you can watch it. So go watch it if you haven't. You know, made some stuffed ass peppers, and there you go. There you go. There you go. Go watch it. I also did a Doom stream yesterday. So if you like Doom, I'll watch it because it's good. When is the review of James Rolfe and the FPS documentary? I must have missed that. 22% of Americans being okay with interracial marriage being outlawed. That's, you know, that tracks with a lot of other polls. It's crazy. But, yep, thank you all for watching. Everyone have a good day. You know, to the best of your ability. And, there you go.
But the real problem is that our leaders are dumb. Dumb. So dumb.
I went in yesterday and there was a television screen, and I said, this is genius.
Here I am, Nancy Pelosi, saying this country needs a strong Republican Party. Hey, here I am, Nancy Pelosi, saying this country needs a strong Republican Party. Here I am, Nancy Pelosi, saying this country needs a strong Republican Party, and we do.
All of a sudden, we can't talk about Neanderthal DNA anymore.
I am not up to the job. And I mean that sincerely. It's not like, whoa.
In case you don't know, and you haven't seen the latest polls, the American people hold the President of the United States in contempt. They hold this institution in contempt. They hold the Republican Party in contempt. They hold the Democratic Party in contempt. They think that maybe, given all of the crises facing this country, it's about time that there was some bold leadership here and that this institution made some hard choices. Who are you worried about? I'll tell you who I'm worried about. I'm worried about the fact that our workers are seeing a decline in their standard of living. They want to see our industry be rebuilt. That's what they want to see. No more B-2 bombers. No more Star Wars. Let's make the quality products we need.
Should we have done that sooner?
We are doing it.
But should we have done it sooner?
We are doing it. It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. Every day it is time for us to agree.
You know, the truth of the matter is that when you look at some of my policies, in a lot of ways, Richard Nixon was more liberal than I was.
They had a very bad original concept. It was carried out poorly, and the cover-up was one of the worst in the history of cover-up. Very simple. Bad deal, should have never been thought of. Somebody really messed up, and they had the worst cover-up ever. And where it should have stopped is at the deal standpoint, when they thought about it. Because whoever thought of that idea, I think is in big trouble.
You will file articles of impeachment against President Joe Biden.
Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Could you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know.
No, seriously, hot sauce. I've been eating a lot of hot sauce, a lot of raw peppers and hot sauce.
$7 million for reef fish management, $25 million to combat Asian carp, $2.5 million to count the number of amberjack fish in the Gulf of Mexico.